Morning peeps, good morning everyone. How's everyone doing? Hopefully you guys are all doing well. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, like, share, subscribe. Alright, before we talk Canelo, Jake Paul, who knows, right? Sounds crazy to even say that, doesn't it? Canelo, Jake Paul. Sounds crazy now. Wouldn't sound crazy in like 4 or 5 years time, but right now, it sounds very, very crazy. But look, before we talk about that, let's have a look and see what else is doing around. Let's start here. Delicious Ori can't wait to get started as a professional boxer. Yeah, looking forward to seeing what he can do. Good guy, I've met him a few times. Very good amateur. Won Commonwealth gold, European gold. I think he won a couple of national titles as well. I know he was super disappointed to go out in the first round of the Olympics. Semi-controversial, went out by split decision. But no shame to who he lost to. He lost to a former amateur world champion. Is the right age, 27. So there's no need to fast track him. You compare it to when Joe Joyce turned over. Joe Joyce turned over in his 30s. So you almost felt like they were trying to fast track Joe Joyce. This one, you can build properly and slowly, give him the right fights. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what he can do. He's the right size. He's 6'5", 6'6", so he's a big guy. I do remember, and I stand to be corrected if I've got this wrong, but I do remember there was a lot of talk about him leaving boxing and trying to pursue a career in wrestling. I don't know what's happened there, but look, he's with a good promoter in Frank Warren, who we all know knows how to build fighters. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what he can do. All right, promoter of Chris Eubank Jr., Conor Benn, seeking major broadcaster. This is Ben Shalom, obviously because Eddie Hearn's got his broadcaster, DAZN. There is a bit of an issue here with Sky Sports not wanting to show this fight. I think the issue surrounds Chris Eubank Jr. Chris Eubank Jr. has connections or is a close friend of a known spot fixer. I mean, that's what I've read. That's what I've heard. I've heard about this for a few months. I don't know. I mean, I'm not quite sure how this one plays out. Obviously, TNT won't be involved because Queensbury's deal with TNT ends, I think, the 31st of March, and that's when DAZN and Queensbury get involved. So right now, I'm guessing it's only DAZN. Right now, it's only DAZN. I think Sky Sports will eventually get involved, but for now, they've decided to kind of wait and see how this plays out. This spot fixer, I need to read a bit more into it because, I mean, I can't imagine Chris Eubank Jr. betting on himself for this fight, or betting on a round he's going to win, or any of that bullshit. But I guess once you do have this behind you, got to look into it properly. But I can see this just working out. I can't imagine Sky not wanting to be involved in this one. This is the biggest, unless AJ fights Fury, it's the biggest fight over here this year. So I feel like they'll jump in and get involved soon. No more late notice showdowns for victorious Callum Simpson. You know, Simpson was the one that actually teased a late notice fight. Willie Hutchinson was supposed to fight Zach Parker on the Chisora Otto Volin card. Willie Hutchinson has injured his shoulder. I think Callum Simpson tweeted something about stepping in on late notice. No, this isn't stepping in on late notice against a scrub or someone that you could easily knock over. Zach Parker's a very, very good fighter. I still feel like Zach's rebuilding after the John Ryder defeat, which was a big fight for him. He's had 3 wins, I believe, since then, but nothing to the level of John Ryder. This would have been something comparable. Fighting Willie Hutchinson, who I think is starting to build a bit of a profile and a name for himself because of those fights against Craig Richards and Joshua Boatsi. So, yeah, no late jump in for Callum Simpson, and rightly so. I think Simpson's a bit of a star. You know, when you think who are the next stars over here, I don't know if he's going to go all the way, although I do believe his next fight should be a world level fight, but he's got a bit of a following, and that helps. He's got a bit of a following. He speaks well. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do this year. David Benavidez won't stand it in the way of Artur Beterbiev, Dmitry Bivol trilogy. Obviously, that trilogy only happens if Dmitry Bivol wins. A lot of people, I've seen a lot of people picking Dmitry Bivol. I say that. What I mean is, you know, that thing that every broadcaster seems to do when, I think Clarissa Shields did it the other day, where they're ranking each person's ability. So strength, Beterbiev, speed, Bivol. Do you know what I mean? That thing, right? And everyone seems to have gone Bivol. That shows that that's just not how fights work. Because I think Beterbiev was a favourite. I think Beterbiev went into the last fight not quite sure about that knee. That knee should be 100% now. But Bivol's going to take confidence that he can take a whack from Beterbiev, right? You don't know if you can take those shots until you get hit with those shots. And he'll take confidence that he can maybe stay in the pocket for a bit longer and actually fight and trade with Beterbiev. I feel like the judges didn't give him credit for the work he was doing on the back foot. It looked like he was running when ultimately that's the way he has to fight Beterbiev. So I do wonder if this is going to be a bit more of these guys fighting in a phone booth, which I think will suit Beterbiev. All right, enough of that. Let's talk Canelo, Jake Paul. Now, look, firstly, I'm going to call cap on it straight away. I'm calling cap on it straight away. I saw a tweet about it, and I saw a few people that I know and respect in the sport retweet it and give their opinions and thoughts on it. So look, there's definitely feelers being put out there. Now, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, there was a tweet that went round suggesting that Canelo could fight Jake Paul in May. Yesterday, I did a video about Canelo fighting Crawford in September, and I've been saying for the last few months, will Canelo sit it out, or will Canelo do what Canelo does, which is give us that May fight, Cinco de Mayo? It's a big date for him. I can't think of an obvious opponent. I mean, I could go down the rankings and just pick someone out, but in terms of an opponent that everyone gets excited about, there isn't one that's standing out, is there? There isn't. There are some big names. Christian Mbili deserves a crack. If Belanga and Munguia can get a crack, I think Mbili deserves a crack, but it's not going to be Mbili. So this is probably why the Canelo versus Jake Paul rumors have gathered a bit more heat. I will say this, before anyone shits on this idea, I do think Canelo will fight Jake Paul. I do. I think there's far too much money involved, and Canelo will think this is easy money. I'm talking hundreds of millions involved. So I think eventually this fight will happen. I don't think this fight's going to happen in May. I really don't. At this stage of Canelo's career, he would... This is no diss to Jake Paul. I'll give Jake Paul plaudits in a minute. But at this stage of Canelo's career, if he wanted to, he could knock out Jake Paul in about a minute. I'm not even fucking about. This is not me just trying to put a headline out there. I think Jake Paul could get stopped by Canelo just like that. Just like that. Like Canelo would go straight forward to him and throw a combination that Jake Paul's never seen in his life and just put him through hell. That's what I think would happen. So it makes no sense. Why it does make sense from a money standpoint, forget skill for skill, because even in 4 or 5 years, skill for skill, Canelo's going to be way above Jake Paul. But from a money standpoint, Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson did enormous numbers for Netflix. Netflix must be through the roof. So happy with Jake Paul that they're messaging Nikita and Jake Paul saying, okay, what next? Who next? And Jake Paul and Nikita sit down and they'll, write down a list of possible opponents. I'm like, what can do something similar to Mike Tyson? Nothing's going to eclipse that, but what can do something similar to that? Like, what could get the people talking? What could just impress Netflix execs so much that they have to put it on? And at this stage, there isn't an obvious name apart from Canelo. Don't say Conor McGregor. I don't think Conor McGregor is that guy anymore, honestly. I think Conor McGregor is too controversial. Controversy sells, so who knows? But Canelo would have been on that list. If Nikita and Jake are writing down names, I'm telling you now, Canelo is on that list. And they would put feelers out to Canelo's team and say, look, just hear us out, Canelo. This can make you 100 million. And if you don't think Canelo's going to come to the table when someone says you could make 100 million fighting Jake Paul, you're crazy. Honestly, if you don't think Canelo would entertain a conversation about fighting Jake Paul right now, when it's 100 million, you are crazy. Canelo would think that's nicking sweets from a kid. Canelo would think, what? You want to pay me 100 million to fight you right now? Sign me up. Sign me up. So that's why it's not as far-fetched as some people will say. There'll be a lot of hardcore boxing fans that maybe don't see it the casual boxing way. There's too much money involved. And where there's money, there's resolution. And it could happen. Again, do I think it will happen in May? No, I don't. May 5th is what? 12 weeks away. Less than that. I just don't think there's enough time. It's such a big fight. We'll need all the promotion in the world. But it's going to happen. It's going to happen. I just don't think it happens now. Again, it's not a competitive fight. This is no shitting on Jake. if anyone out there is saying it's a competitive fight, then they're bum licking. They're bum licking. They're arse licking, because it's not. You have you have a pound for pound top 5-6 fighting Jake Paul. Stop it. Stop. This isn't faded champions. This isn't a Mike Tyson that was in a wheelchair a few months before the fight. This is Canelo. But there's a lot of money involved, people. So don't be shocked if this fight happens sooner rather than later. I mean, Canelo is probably looking at a year where he could make 300 million. I'm not even joking. He could make that much money. Could make that much money. I'm not just talking about fighter purses. I'm talking about endorsements, everything that comes with fights of the magnitude of Jake Paul and Terence Crawford. All right, let me give Jake Paul some plaudits. Fuck me. What him and his brother are doing just needs to be studied. It's insane. Am I out of line here by saying I'm not a big WWE fan now, but could Logan Paul become WWE champion? Is that crazy? Was he not US champion or some bullshit? The reason I say that is you've got one brother that's dominating or doing very well in the wrestling market, doing very well, surprising everyone, great on the mic, doing very, very well, often has a fight, makes some money doing that way. Prime. You got another brother who has literally come into boxing and turned it on its head. It's turned it on its head to the point where legit fighters are calling him out. I saw Daniel Dubois call him out. I saw Beterbiev, all these, jokingly, but still called him out because they know the money you can make fighting Jake Paul is through the roof. It's through the roof. I mean, you just have to applaud what he's doing. You honestly have to applaud it. But I call cap on them fighting in May, but I certainly don't call cap on them fighting in the next 2 years. I don't. As long as Jake keeps winning and Canelo wants to fight him, the fight will happen. And Canelo is going to want to fight him because the money is too much. Canelo will probably think, I will get paid 5 times the amount fighting Jake Paul than I would get him fighting Beterbiev. And my Hall of Fame career is solidified. I'm going to go down as one of the greatest fighters of all time. I have nothing more to prove. Line up some easy fights and let me knock them over for more than I got paid for the tougher fights. It's that simple. Honestly, it's that simple, guys. So yeah, to close on this, it ain't going to happen now. It will happen in the not too distant future. My thoughts. All right. Anything else? Conor Benn heading to Spain to get ready for Chris Eubank Jr. Okay. I like that. I didn't see the full clip of it, but I saw little bits of Sean Porter sparring Conor Benn. I like when the old guard just helped the new young guard, if you like. I know Conor's not necessarily new or young, but you know what I mean. Like giving him points and tips, and I like that. Sometimes you do get the old guard looking down at the new guard and kind of shitting on them. I like the idea of give them tips, go in, spar, tell them where they're going wrong, help them. I think that's good. I think Sean's got that in him. Sean's a great character. I think Sean would make a great trainer. But he's doing such a good job with his podcast, and when he's on the broadcast, I've worked with him a few times. Amazing guy. All right, anything else? There are other little bits, but we'll leave it there. Remember, Ariel and Ade today, 10 p.m. live. Make sure you tune in. I'm going to put the link in the comment section. I'll put the link on my Twitter page, Instagram, everywhere, so you guys can't miss it. Peace.